comments on the show today.
I think I like Tom Brady more today than I've ever liked him. And he said something this weekend that's freaking people out. I'll explain why it really deepens my appreciation for Tom Brady. That's coming up.
Thanks, Colin. Time for our final topic of the day. After the Rockets beat the Warriors on Saturday, Clint Capella said Houston was better than Golden State. Kevin Durant responds to that with a shot at Capella, saying, quote, usually he's catching the ball and laying it up from Chris Paul or James Harden. His job is not as hard. When your job is hard, you can't just come out and say bleep like that. Shannon, whose side are you on here?
Hold on. I just want to skip. Is Kevin Durant criticizing someone for taking an easy job? So what's harder? Playing with Chris Paul and James Harden, or playing with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson? I just want to know which one you think has the hardest job.
It's hard because you're the best player on the other team, and you're the best player in the world, and you were the MVP of the NBA Finals, so that's hard.
So it's hard?
Yeah.
Play with those three other guys, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm on Clint Capella's side. Get him, Clint! Get him!
Well, okay. Well, Clint Capella's job is hard for Clint Capella, right? Because
Kevin Durant is criticizing someone about a hard job. When he linked up with a 73-9, I don't have any problem. He was a free agent. But he did link up with three guys that won 73 games the year before he got there.
Because he was the MVP of the Finals, why is he responding to Clint Capella? Isn't he above that now? Hasn't he earned the right to, again, if James Harden had said something or...
We'll be back tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern.
But I'm with you,
right
Capella.
now, Colin Cowherd tells you why you should emulate Tom Brady's lifestyle.
Get him, KD! Capella, I'm on your side.
This is The Herd, wherever you may be. And however you may be listening, live in Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. It is great to have you in today. Christine Leahy is joining me on a Tuesday.
I got to spoil a movie for you last night, for a change.
It's an interesting time in my life, Christine. I don't give advice to my kids. Occasionally they ask questions, and I offer an opinion. And I want to start the show with an opinion. My daughter one time recently had a bad day at school. And, you know, high school kids can be rough. High school girls can be rough on other high school girls. And, you know, and so I said to her, I said, you know, I'd be very cautious about being the most popular kid in school. I said, I think popularity is overrated. I said, what's underrated is having a meaningful relationship with one or two friends. I said, I wasn't that popular. I'm a loner, an oddball. I said, but I did have a best friend, Jack Jones. And I can, 35 years later, remember the times we'd get in his Prelude, drive to Seattle or Olympia, go to the mall, laugh the whole time. Going out, partying, playing sports together. He was my best friend. Go to his house every day after school, play hoops in the driveway, laugh, joke. And I told my daughter, I said, be very careful about popular. Go a mile deep into one relationship. I don't really give advice. That's just my opinion. Jason Whitlock was on the show yesterday, and he was talking about commitment. And it's vulnerable. It's scary, right? When instead of having a bunch of casual friends, you have one great friend. They could turn their back on you. They could no longer like you. It's very scary. It's very vulnerable. And Jason Whitlock was talking on our show yesterday about Tom Brady and what makes him unique and the greatest ever.
I'm ready to go there and say better than Jordan. And I'll say this, why I'll put a disclaimer, some context around it. He's more committed than Michael Jordan. That's the difference between Tom Brady and almost every other athlete. It's just his commitment. Michael Jordan was a tremendous, best we've seen, but he enjoyed the nightlife. He enjoyed gambling. He enjoyed hanging with the boys. Tom Brady and this Tom versus Tom thing, he's given up his life for football.
But he hasn't given up his entire life. What Tom Brady has said is, I'm going to fully commit to two things, my family and my football. I'm going to give up alcohol, red meat, Vegas trips, poker night with the boys. Ever been to a casino at 2 in the morning? What are you really giving up? Tom Brady's documentary had a line in it. I'm going to play this. It freaks some people out. Let's play the tape.
What are you willing to do and what are you willing to give up to be the best you can be? If you're going to compete against me, you better be willing to give up your life because I'm giving up mine.
You better be willing to give up your life because I've given up mine for football. Whoa, that is obsessive. Go look up work-life balance. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. They don't have a lot. They're changing the world. There's no joy in that. Ever met somebody who's a part-time comedian, part-time stenographer, a poet, a ski instructor, a notary? You ever think they have 9 jobs because they couldn't find the one they truly loved and they really would be happier if they had it? Dating a lot of people or going all in on one? It's vulnerable. It's scary. They can dump you, leave you. That's a weird place to be as a guy, like, right? Vulnerable? Tom Brady's like, I'm all into 2 things. I'm going to give up poker night with the boys, Vegas trips on the weekend, gambling at casinos, carbs. I'm going all in on stuff that matters. What Tom Brady's basically saying is, I'm going for quality. I'm not going for quantity. And it's funny because Tony Gonzalez, I always thought of him as an incredibly committed guy. I used to bring Tony Gonzalez on, 14-time Pro Bowler, on my radio show at ESPN, and we'd always start talking about nutrition. And I can remember thinking, God, this guy is completely all in. And then Tony was on Speak for Yourself yesterday, and he said, I'm not that all in.
I asked myself, why did I retire? And I was going to a Pro Bowl. I had 83 catches. I could have played another year. Because I'm not willing to give up what he has given up. During the offseason, there are times I'd take off a month here, a month there. I was always working out, but it wasn't 100% dedication. During the season, I still went out after the game, had a couple soda pops, relaxing, went to a club every once in a while because I wanted to do that. Because I believed in that balance. Huh?
More than once in a while.
Back in my young days, my young single days. But that's where Tom, when I look at Tom, I say, honestly, in all due respect, you're crazy.
And I think a lot of people see that. But you know who else is crazy? Kobe Bryant and Peyton Manning and Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and the late Steve Jobs. Yeah, they're a little crazy. They're not wired like everybody else. That's why they create things that we use and talk into and drive. Is that not everybody is radical because they love something deeply. And that's what I told my daughter that one day when she got into a fight. I said, what's the value of popular? But I do know the value of meaningful. And when you look up work-life balance, it never shows up in happiness, giving to charity, loving people, meaningful aspirations, meaningful relationships with your wife, with your kids, with your job. I don't see Tom Brady as obsessive. I see him going a mile deep on 2 things that can really change the world. His love for football and his love for his family. I don't think I've ever liked him more after hearing him say that. I'm giving up my life for football. He'll be in the Super Bowl again, facing a team full of mostly guys who haven't. All right, so I'm looking at something that happened yesterday. This is an interesting thing. So yesterday, I've told you before, I am pro-conflict. I don't think you should let things fester. It doesn't matter if you're talking about your work. It doesn't matter if you're talking about your kids or whatever. Don't let stuff fester. Like, let's get it out. Let's argue. Let's scream at each other. Hurt feelings for an hour, but just, like, get stuff to the surface. And so yesterday, apparently the Cleveland Cavaliers, in their practice facility yesterday had this really loud shouting meeting, and the players think Kevin Love's not being honest with them, and he missed a game, and he missed a practice, and he said he was sick, and the players didn't buy into it, and they were yelling and screaming, and then Kevin Love says, this is why I missed the game, and this is why I missed practice. But here's what's funny about this situation. Everybody is looking at Cleveland and LeBron, and they're going, wow, this is a crisis. Cleveland's 27-18, seventh best record in the NBA, three-time defending Eastern Conference championship. Is that a crisis, or is it standards? This is why Brady screams at his offensive coordinator and the cameraman Sunday and his teammates at the end of the second quarter. Did you see it on TV? It's called standards. LeBron James creates conflict in January, right before the trading deadline. He wants to win a championship or bust, certainly at least win the Eastern Conference. And he sees problems. So there's conflict. Again, meetings, yelling, streaming. This is how you resolve stuff. The standards are different for Brady. He's in an 8th Super Bowl. The standards are different for LeBron. He's been to 7 straight finals. LeBron's problems are probably a lot like a billionaire's problems, though I don't know any billionaires, but I imagine they complain about stuff like, my second private jet is not available this weekend for Aspen, or my $27,000 a month landscaping bill hasn't come yet. Brady's standards and LeBron's standards, you view it as a crisis. I view it as crisis resolution. Arguing, conflict, team meetings, calling people out. You can Google Steve Jobs jerk. There's a lot of articles. When you're trying to change the world, this is sort of the way it happens. You become a little bit of a pain in the butt because it's not good enough to be 27-18. It's not good enough just to win the East. It's not good enough to have the 7th best record. Tom Brady walked out of the tunnel Sunday and screamed at a camera guy. He didn't want the camera guy to hit his injured right hand. Then he screamed at a coach, and he screamed at teammates. Listen, they both built up equity, LeBron and Brady. That team meeting is exactly what you should do if you're trying to change the world in which you live. It's not a crisis, it's crisis resolution. I love that story. It gives me more confidence Cleveland will figure it out, whether it's the front office or the owner making a trade, or it's the players committing on the defensive end. Today, it's an interesting day. It's a Tuesday, right?
Yes.
And we only have one football game left, so you'd think to yourself, there is, there's a dearth of stories. There's not stuff out there. But a couple of major things happened last night, and I got to give credit to somebody. And we've seen this happening in sports regularly, but I'm gonna add a guy to the list that is now indirectly getting other people fired, and it's a credit to how great he is. That is coming up next, guys. Yes, guys. Time to work on your imperfections and better ourselves for 2018. Oh, here's that stat Christine doesn't like. 66% of men lose their hair by age 35. I think that's so sad.
Well, it's just because you're rubbing it in their face. You don't need to point it out.
It's a very good point by you. Well, resolve to just slightly improve. Go to forhims.com. It's a one-stop shop for hair loss and skincare for men. It's medical-grade solutions. It's real doctors offering well-known generic equivalents to name-brand prescriptions. Help you keep your hair. It's not herbal supplements. There's no waiting room, no awkward doctor visits. Go to forhims.com. Few quick questions. Doctor reviews it, prescribes you directly to the door it comes. Order right now for $5 today. Get a trial month of everything you need to keep your hair. It's pretty easy, too. Forhims.com/Colin. That's F-O-R, for H-I-M-S, forhims.com/Colin.
What'd you do?